The New York Rangers are definitely a team that want to get right back into the playoffs this season, and of course, throughout this offseason so far, have definitely made a lot of moves to try and make this team a whole lot better than what it was throughout this past season. And one spot in particular is still a massive question for this Rangers team, and that is the third line center position. As of right now, I think I can confidently say that there is kind of four players that honestly have a realistic shot at getting that third line center role, and that's between Johnny Brodzinski, Juuso Parssinen, Noah Laba the prospect, and Mika Zibanejad. So in today's video, we're going to kind of talk and really dive into this third line center position for the Rangers, talk about the four players that are kind of up for that spot, I think, talk a bit about the other three centers, of course, as well, but mainly kind of focus in on those four players that I talked about who are going to be competing for that third line center spot to begin this upcoming 2025-2026 regular season. So let's just get right into things here, and we'll start off by I'm talking a bit about the other three centers, the kind of spots that I think are pretty much locked in place there, and that is the two top six centermen being, of course, JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck. I can pretty much 100% guarantee that, and the Rangers very well might end up having two fairly kind of balanced top six lines there, so we very well could end up being just more of a kind of 1A, 1B situation like we have, seen at moments in the past for the Rangers top six. But the fourth line center, that's the other center spot that is pretty much locked in place there, and that is going to be Sam Carrick. So you're kind of looking at in your top six there, your 1-2 punch being JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck. And your third line center is a bit of a question, but then your fourth line spot is locked in place as well with it being Sam Carrick. He's a really good fourth line center. That's what he is. He's not going to be anything more than that, but he's not going to be anything less than that. Just going to be a solid fourth line center, solid two-way guy, can bring a little bit here and there offensively, but just going to be a solid penalty killer, good face-off taker, brings a lot of kind of toughness, physicality, grit, energy, some tenacity, all that kind of stuff. So I just think is the perfect kind of ideal fourth line center to have, and him making $1 million per season is also not bad at all. But the point being right now, you've got that 1-2 kind of 4 punch locked in for your centerman, but there is that big question right now with that 3C spot. And I really do think as of right now, you could really argue for any of those four guys at Laba, Zibanejad, Parssinen, or Brodzinski to kind of be deserving of that spot, I guess. I mean, I know a lot of Rangers fans have really started to notice him, of course, and I've talked about it in the past. I made videos in the past, talking about how at moments I thought he's been the most underrated New York Rangers prospect. I don't think that as of right now, because I think people are really starting to kind of see how good he potentially can be for this team and how good he already is. And after a really great, performance in rookie camp there, of course, up against the Flyers, and, it is rookie camp at the end of the day, but he did look really, really good. I think looked like a pretty dominant player. So he is someone who's got that good, 6'2" size there, solid two-way game for a centerman, can bring a little bit of kind of toughness and physicality there, but you can also just be a solid kind of penalty killing centerman, a solid defensive guy, help out offensively, can be a power play guy, although, if he does earn that third line center role, probably, of course, won't get much power play time at all, even on the power play 2 unit, but still, he's a guy who has that kind of potential at the NHL level one day, maybe. So I think right now he's definitely the kind of upside pick there, of course, for that third line center spot, but he might be a kind of guy who they don't opt to go with because he is obviously way more inexperienced than the other three options. So they very well might end up going with the more kind of veteran guys like a Brodzinski or maybe as a Zibanejad or even a Parssinen who him himself is obviously not much of a veteran necessarily in the NHL, but he is definitely a lot more experienced than someone like Laba. So maybe a guy like Mike Sullivan, him being a kind of more experienced veteran head coach, maybe wants to go with the more experienced veteran players. Then you've got Mika Zibanejad on the other hand, though, and he's an interesting guy to talk about because obviously, if you watch my videos in the past, I've talked about it a lot as well, and that's the fact that I think he should be a winger for the Rangers throughout this upcoming season. I think from what I saw from Zibanejad last season there, with how bad he was at center and how much better he was on wing, I kind of want to see heading into this season him remain on wing and kind of see how that goes going forward with a kind of full offseason now of him maybe kind of preparing to be on wing. I think that could be a big thing for this team. And, I get it. He is not going to earn that full $8.5 million probably, per season, right? That's probably not going to happen. But I do think the way to kind of get the most out of him, the most value, is to probably put him on wing, because we saw him be around kind of point per game numbers on wing, and he was a lot closer to like half a point per game on center, while he was a bit of a defensive liability at moments as well. So I just think to get the most out of his advantage at this point in his career, it's probably best to put him on wing, which I'm definitely hoping we will see to begin this season, but he obviously still has that chance to remain at center like he's, been for the most part in the past. And next up here, we've got Juuso Parssinen, who ended up, of course, joining the Rangers around this past NHL trade deadline in that deal where the Rangers sent over Ryan Lindgren to the Colorado Avalanche. And, of course, he came over in that deal, was a part of that little package. And he's been a solid piece so far. I think at best he's going to be a third-line center. I don't think he really has any more upside than that, but he's got that good size there at about 6'3". Not the best face-off taker, unfortunately, but I do think is, an okay kind of option there. I don't think he's great offensively or great defensively, but he does have that kind of nice, energetic kind of style of play there, some physicality. He can be a pretty physical guy, of course, bring some grit and toughness. So I think realistically, if you're, going out there to win a cup and he's on your team, he's got to be in more of a fourth line role. Of course, I don't think you're going to win a cup with him as your 3C, but I do think he can be a solid kind of player and a solid kind of filler option for that spot for now. But if this team really does have some pretty high aspirations, I don't think he's quite good enough to really be that third line guy. And, same thing with a guy, Johnny Brodzinski, for example. I think Johnny is a really good player, not like a great NHLer, but a good, solid player, of course. I just don't think he's a top six kind of guy. So once again, can he be a solid filler guy here and there to kind of help fill that role of a third line center? Sure. But if you're going to go out there and you're really trying to win that cup, he's not going to be the guy who you want in that spot. So I think for now, to begin this season, if you have Juuso or Brodzinski in that kind of a spot, I'm okay with it. But, by the deadline there, if you're really looking to be a competitive team, you're going to want to go out there and make an upgrade, which it won't be cheap, of course, because, top 9 kind of caliber centermen, especially at the deadline, are going to be hot commodities for the most part. And a lot of teams are going to want them. That's going to bidding war, which therefore normally kind of, heightens the price quite a bit. So obviously, it's not an ideal spot to be in, and I do kind of hope the Rangers really kind of, see what maybe they kind of potentially have in a guy like Noah Laba, and maybe, don't have to give him a spot right away, but kind of keep in the back of their mind as someone to potentially, get called up at some point there if he is, doing a really good job there in the AHL, maybe, putting up around a point per game plus kind of numbers maybe down there, with the Hartford Wolfpack. Maybe he gets a call up at some point, like a month or two into the season, if we have guys like Juuso Parssinen or Brodzinski or Zibanejad, not doing the greatest in that spot. So as of right now, it's kind of a toss-up right now. You got those 4 guys that are really kind of battling for that one single third-line center spot. So that's pretty much going to do it for today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post a video every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on today's video. Who do you think is going to be that third-line center for the New York Rangers? Do you think it'll be Laba, Zibanejad, Parssinen, Brodzinski, someone else? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And also, do you think Noah Laba is the clear top center prospect in the New York Rangers system? Because that's what I think as of right now. So, also just let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section. I'll catch you next one, and bye.